Rajat Sethi, is this a good thing? You know, there is this massive curiosity, suspense over what will happen. From what I am told by our sources, most of the cabinet ministers didn't really know what the agenda was. They came into parliament and the agenda was placed before them. Now, if that is correct, you know, building this kind of hype, if it's legislation, let's assume at the end of it, if it's the women's reservation bill, that's been in the pipeline for so many decades. Why build so much suspense around it? What's cooking? Is this a good thing? Okay, well, the cabinet meeting has ended. Just one second, Rajat, before you respond. Cabinet meeting has ended. It went on for an hour and a half. I don't know just at this moment what's been decided, and I don't want to speculate, but we'll come back to them. Till then, Rajat, it's great television. All this suspense, the mystery, the rahasya is great for us, but is this really good governance?
Well, over the past 9 years, we've come to realize that there is a sense of suspense which is maintained around important policy measures. And, look at the criteria. Some of them have succeeded, some of them haven't succeeded. For example,
No, but which decision taken in suspense succeeded according to you?
Well, I mean, suspense for the larger audience, but I think there is enough amount of groundwork which goes into each one of them. The results are mixed, but overall, if you see, hard work has been put into each one of them. My understanding is that since this is the Sri Ganesh of a new parliament, we believe that at least something of a big bang has to be there, which can mark a new journey, which is distinctly different from how the parliament was run. Prime Minister Modi would want to leave a solid policy or a governance imprint on the first bill that gets introduced or gets passed from the new parliament. So from that perspective, at least I can, like all of you are guessing there, I can also make my guess that it would be something. It could also be, a change in the constitution, officially accepting Bharat as the only name, a civilizational name of the country. That too could be.
Okay, I've got more news coming in that there'll be no cabinet briefing today. Usually after a cabinet, sometimes there is a cabinet briefing. This time, though, there'll be no cabinet briefing. The suspense makes for fascinating television, Sanjay Jha. Does it make for good governance? Rajat Sethi makes the point there will be some big bang announcement, and it is inevitable and required because there is the Sri Ganesh of a new parliament. Therefore, something dramatic has to happen over there, only then will it become memorable. Sanjay Jha.
Time Mr. Modi and Big Bang come together, I think the country has every reason to feel extremely nervous. We have two examples, disastrous examples, by the way, of demonetization. The lingering effects of that devastating pseudo-economics is something that India has paid through its nose, and the poor in particular have bled through it. So we know that demonetization disaster was one of these big surprises when Mr. Modi pulled on the country. The second was the lockdown, and nobody will ever forget the tragic sight of migrants walking home while the politicians in New Delhi, of course, lived in the comfort of their Lutyens' air-conditioned comfort. The bottom line is this, that I feel, Rahul, that this is an insult of this great democracy. You know, you had Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of India come and say that whatever has been put out in the public domain in terms of the legislative agenda is not the entire story, right? So the Prime Minister of this country, who represents 303 members in Parliament, 37% of the popular vote, fair enough, that he's keeping a large part of India in the dark in what he believes are historic decisions. I think this mocks democracy and establishes what L.K. Advani famously said about Narendra Modi. He's an event manager, and perhaps he's an exceptional event management
Let Shehzad Poonawalla respond. If
these
are historic decisions, why keep India in the dark? Why so much suspense? Shehzad.
Rahul, with all due respect, the two examples Sanjay just cited, demonetization and lockdown, were both executive decisions. They weren't actually legislative decisions. There was no question of bringing them to Parliament. And demonetization was subsequently upheld by the Supreme Court. So I guess because the verdict was not favorable, now you diss the Supreme Court. But having said that, let me come to the point. Look, Rahul, anything that follows constitutional and parliamentary procedure as it was envisaged, how is it a defrauding of the democracy? Defrauding of democracy, Rahul. And I'm sorry, today there are no historians on your debate, usually you have top class historians, would tell you that on 24th of June, Indira Gandhi consults the president, imposes emergency and calls for a cabinet meeting at 6 a.m. on 25th of June, and post facto takes a ratification of the cabinet. That's an insult and a mockery of democracy. Now, having said that, let me come to the original point Shama just made. Shama said, by the way, in Rajya Sabha, Shamaji, and I hope you won't interrupt me, we as the BJP supported the bill entirely. That's why it was passed in Rajya Sabha in 2010. By the way, Atal Bihari Vajpayee brought it in 98, 99 and 2003. You all didn't support. But when it was supposed to go to Lok Sabha, you did not have the courage. You had the numbers. You had a government till 2014. The fact is that you did not bring it to Lok Sabha because SP, RJD and JDU, all of them opposed the current form of the bill which has been passed by Rajya Sabha. In fact, today itself, Ram Gopal Yadav and the Samajwadi Party spokespersons whom I have been on multiple debates, and I'm sorry there's none on the show right now, Rahul, but you can confirm it from your people, they have all said we do not agree with the current bill which Pawan Kheda, Jairam Ramesh and Shama Mohammed have asked us to bring to Parliament. So Shama, first tell me what is the India Alliance's stand on this current bill? Is Samajwadi Party on board with the current draft of the Rajya Sabha bill that has been passed? Point number two is that, ma'am, what is your intention? You had said 40% reservation for women in places where we come to power. You have 46 ministers in Himachal and Karnataka, and you know how many women have been made ministers? One. Shama Mohammed, I think talk is cheap. Walk the talk. Why don't you make 30%?
Okay, let Shama Mohammed respond to the fact that parties like the RJD, parties like the Samajwadi Party aren't on board with the women's reservation bill as it existed previously. Now, the government could bring in a new bill. I'm already hearing different theories about new formulations, but in the bill that came last, key members of your India Alliance don't support it.
Yeah, so this is what Shehzad Poonawalla is saying, but I have not heard from the Samajwadi Party, and I don't believe
But they opposed it last time as well. We know that. RJD opposed it very strongly last time.
Wait. I know, that's what we didn't have the numbers. That's what I'm clearly saying. Now, he keeps saying that we could pass it. We could not because we didn't have the numbers in Lok Sabha. I can ask you a question right now. You have the numbers in Lok Sabha. Isn't it, Shehzad? So pass it. The Prime Minister of India talks about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao every other day. Number two, we had a PCC president who is no more in our party in UP, Rita Bahuna Goshi. We had Kumari Selja as PCC president in Haryana. Haryana, as you know, is a state where women feticide is very high. So we are the first woman Prime Minister, we are the first woman President, we are the one who got in the Pratibha Patil, the first woman President, first woman Speaker, Meera Kumar, the Congress Party got in. So what are you talking about, Shehzad Poonawalla? We have given women importance, we have fought for women all the time. Now I want to ask you, why cannot you put this bill out, and what is the reason for this special session? I mean, all the time in India, the history of India, special session is for a reason. Starting from 1947, when we got independence, or 1972, when it was 25 years of independence, 1992, 50 years of Quit India movement. So there were special occasions when we have called the special session of Parliament.
Okay.
Here the problem is you're going to a new Parliament when the 16th Lok Sabha only 330 days and 17th Lok Sabha is 231 days. Just one last point. Any bills through the standing committee from 2019 to 21, only 13% bills have gone to standing committee.